Hello, friends, and welcome back to this lecture number 13 in this series. Today, in this lecture, we are going to discuss about the limit state of collapse in shear, and also we'll discuss about the shear stress distribution in a RC beam and in a homogeneous concrete beam. Let us discuss first about shear stress in homogeneous beams. So, as we know that in case of any beam which is subjected to external loading, that beam is subjected to bending moment within that beam, and that bending moment varies throughout the span of that beam, and due to this variation in the span, a shear stress or shear force is going to develop in that beam. So this shear we have to calculate, or we have to determine the amount of this shear force as well as shear stress, so that we can provide the stability to this beam. So, since this all concepts we have already studied in previous courses like structural mechanics, so in that from that courses we know that the shear stress which is going to develop in a homogeneous material beam can be given by using this equation, that is tau is equals to V A y bar upon B into I. So here the tau is the shear stress and V is the shear force. Ay bar is moment of area about the section about the neutral axis. B is the width of this section, as you can see here also. Then I is the moment of inertia. So by using this relation, we can calculate the shear stress within the beam, particularly for a homogeneous beams. Now, if we want to find out the shear stress distribution throughout the section which is taken of this beam, then that shear stress distribution will be as shown in this figure. So let us consider that there is a beam of the sectional sizes as shown in the figure. Width of beam is B, overall depth is D, and the portion which we are going to consider is shown in the hatch part. So the distribution of this shear stress across the homogeneous beam of rectangular section will be in a parabolic manner, and this will varies like this, that the shear stress will be equals to 0 at top and the bottom face of this beam, and maximum at the neutral axis, and this maximum stress will be represented as tau max. So this is about the shear stress distribution in case of a homogeneous beam. And now suppose instead of this homogeneous beam, as we know that the homogeneous concrete is having some kind of disadvantages or drawbacks, that concrete will not be able to carry the tensile stresses, and whenever a beam of a homogeneous concrete is subjected to flexural action, we know that the part below this neutral axis will be in tension, and as we know that concrete is not able to carry the tensile stresses effectively, so that's why normally we are providing the reinforcement in the tension zone. And as we if we provide this reinforcement in the tension zone, then this stress distribution diagram will vary. So let us discuss the condition or case number 2 in, that is shear stresses in a RC beam. So as I told you, in case of RCC beam, that the concrete below neutral axis is neglected being in tension, as already we have discussed in case of assumptions made in limit state of collapse in flexure, that shear stresses in concrete are to be neglected, or we have taken this sentence as that the all tensile stresses in the concrete are to be taken care by the reinforcement only. Okay, so and that for that purpose we are providing the reinforcement in the concrete, and that whatever shear is going to develop, that shear is to be resisted by the bond between the concrete and steel. And that's why we have also assumed that there should be a perfect bonding between concrete and reinforcement. Okay, so whatever shear is going to develop, that total shear is to be resisted by the steel and the concrete's bond. Okay, so that's why the stress distribution diagram will vary drastically as compared to the homogeneous beam. So that stress distribution diagram will be like this. As you can see that stress distribution or stress will be equals to 0 at the outermost compression fiber. Then it varies parabolically up to the neutral axis where it reaches to the maximum value, that is tau max. And from that portion, as I told you, that all stresses will be carried, all tensile stresses will be carried by the reinforcement. That's why this concrete is of no use, that we are neglecting this concrete, and that's why this stress becomes constant up to the CG of reinforcement. This stress becomes constant up to the CG of reinforcement, and at the CG of reinforcement this stress becomes 0. This value changes abruptly to the 0 at the CG of reinforcement. So in this way, the shear stress distribution will occur in case of RCCB. Even though this kind of distribution is represented here, but as we know that the concrete is a very material which is having very, we cannot predict the conditions, or we cannot say that the stress distribution in the concrete will happens in that exact way. So due to this some kind of uncertainties, now under elastic condition, as we know that we can calculate the total shear force by using a relation, that is total shear force is equals to V is equals to area of stress diagram into width of the beam. So let us consider the stress diagram again, what we have seen previously. And now here what we have to calculate, that we have to find out the area of this stress diagram. That is nothing but this area of stress diagram we have to calculate, this shaded area. And again, as we have done in case of stress block in previous case, that we have to divide this total stress diagram into two parts. First part is this parabolic area, and second part is the rectangular area. So as we know that the area of this parabolic shape can be calculated by using relation 2 by 3 into h into base. So here the base is nothing but tau, that is maximum shear stress. Height is x, that is depth of neutral axis. So from this relation we can write this equation as area of stress diagram in the part 1, that is 2 by 3 into x into tau, and the area of this part 2 will be equals to d minus x into tau. Okay, so we can write it like this: 2 by 3 into x into t tau plus d minus x into tau bracket rest into bracket b, where b is the width of the beam. So if we simplify this equation, we'll get the equation like this: tau b into bracket d minus x by 3, where this term d minus x by 3 is taken as the lever arm, because that whatever force is going to develop, which is going to act at the CG of this stress diagram, and the distance between this equivalent force and the tensile force can be taken as the lever arm z, and that z will be here taken as d minus x by 3. So we can represent that this term d minus x by 3 by z. So we can write the equation for this shear stress tau as tau is equals to v upon b into z. Okay, so this equation we can use for the determination of shear stress in the section, where the terms what we have used is that x is the distance between distance of neutral axis from the compression phase, z is the lever arm, that is d minus x by 3, b is the width, and d is the effective depth, and tau is the maximum shear stress. So as I told you that the behavior of concrete is very complicated, and the exact behavior of concrete or prediction of behavior of concrete is very much complicated, and hence it has not been possible to determine the exact shear stress distribution across the section. In fact, as a designer, that we must have to focus on the to find out the resisting capacity of the section rather than to having a focus on the shear stress distribution throughout the section, because ultimately the main aim as a designer should be to provide a safety against the shear. So that's why whatever section that we are going to provide, that section should have a sufficient capacity to resist the shear stresses which are going to develop in that beam. So that's why the main focus what we have to keep in our mind as a designer is to find out the shear resisting capacity of that section rather than to finding out the actual stress conditions. So that's why for making this total process of achieving the shear resisting capacity for a beam, IS 456 have introduced one concept which is called as a nominal shear stress. And this nominal shear stress is provided in clause number 40 in IS 456 2000 at page number 72. So let us discuss about the nominal shear stress. So this nominal shear stress is given in clause number, it is a subpart of clause number 40. Clause number 40 is for the limit state of collapse in shear, and 40.1 is the nominal shear stress. And this nominal shear stress in the beam of uniform depth can be given by using the equation, and that equation is equals to tau v, that is the nominal shear stress, is equals to Vu upon B into D. Okay, so this is the modified version of the equation what we have seen previously. Instead of Z, here we have used D. So which will provides us a better and easier solution to the nominal shear stress or the shear stress which is going to develop in the concrete beam. So here the terms what we have used are tau v, as I told you, tau v is the nominal shear stress, and Vu is the design shear force or the shear force which we are going to calculate based on the design forces. I'll tell you that what is the how to calculate this Vu. Then B is the width of the section. When this value of B can be taken as a B for the rectangular section, and particularly suppose in case of flange sections, that value of B will be taken as BW. We'll discuss that what is this BW. D is the effective depth. So just illustrate that what is the meaning of this BW here. That suppose let us consider that in case of flanged beams, so flange beams are nothing but the T beams or the L beams, or the beams which are having the shape like this T. Okay, and sometimes it may be provided as the shape like this. These are the L beams. So as we know that these flange sections are having two components. First, this part is called as a wave, and this upper part is called as a flange. So in case of this condition, this width, top width, is called as a flange width, which is normally represented by BF, and this width is called as a wave width, and which is represented as BW. So here also this width will be BW and this width will be BF, that is flange width. So as specified in the previous clause, in case of flange sections, we have to consider the value of B as BW. Okay. And by using this, we have to find out the shear stresses, nominal shear stresses, by using this relation tau V is equals to Vu upon B into D. In case of flange sections, it should be written, it should be read as Vu upon BW into D. So this is the nominal shear stress which we have to consider for the determination of shear reinforcement. And the Vu we can easily calculate based on the given data. That let us suppose if you have been provided a beam which is simply supported. I am taking this as an example. And suppose this beam is subjected to a UDL, and the span of this beam, effective span of beam is L meter, and load, if the load is W, then we can calculate the VU, or the, if suppose this load is the ultimate load or factored load, then we can calculate VU as WU into L by 2. So this is for simply supported beam. In the similar manner, we can calculate the shear force in the beam, and that shear force we have to take as the VU. And this VU is nothing but the factored shear force or the ultimate shear force, which is going to develop due to the design loads or the ultimate loads or the factored loads. So this is about the nominal shear stress. We'll stop here for the day. Thank you. If you like this video, don't forget to click on the like button. And still, if you are not subscribed to my channel, so please click on the subscribe and also click on the bell icon so that you'll get the notifications of new videos added by me. Thank you.